actually going to be doing a first impressions review on the One Heck of a Blot primer, and then also the One Heck of a Blot foundations from Soap and Glory. So if you want to see what my thoughts and stuff are on this foundation, just keep watching, and I love you guys, and I will see you in a second. Soap and Glory actually sent me out all of their foundations and their primer to try out, and I thought I might as well film it for you guys because I haven't tried the foundation before, and I just want to see what it's like because it claims that it's good for oily skin, but I also want to see what it's like for kind of normal to dry skin. But my skin would be more normal than dry, if you know what I mean, but it would be quite on the dry side too. But yeah, so I want to see what it's like on like pretty much normal skin and what the primer and stuff is like, and just see how it applies and all that there. So the primer is actually called the One Heck of a Blot Instant Perfecting Power Primer with Shine Block 12-hour matte spheres and pore shrink technology, and it comes with 12 milliliters. And then the actual primer itself just looks like this. It's actually quite similar to the Benefit Professional, like the little bottle and the little like lid and stuff. So this primer actually retails for £10 for the 30 milliliters, and I think it only comes in the 30 milliliters anyway, so it's pretty much just £10 for the bottle. So pretty much what it says on the website is, want perfect shine free skin, meet arguably the best primer ever, One Heck of a Blot Instant Perfecting Power Primer. It absorbs oil and controls shine all day, so pores look smaller and your skin looks smooth for all skin types. And then it says about the pore shrink technology, the Shine Block 24-hour matte spheres for all day shine control. It helps to hide imperfections, even out your skin tone, reduce the appearance of redness, and it also helps to make your makeup last longer with vitamin E, which leaves you good to glow, it says. So hopefully this works really well because it claims like a lot here, so hopefully it does what it has to say. So I have nothing on my face right now. I've just cleansed and moisturized my skin about half an hour ago, so everything is really kind of settled into my skin now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this on my finger. So I'm just going to use like about a pea-sized amount on the fingertip, and then I'm just going to start rubbing this into my skin. And first impressions is that I thought it would have been one of those like silicone primers, but it's actually quite moisturizing because normally when primers mention that they're like pore erasing and stuff, they're packed with like tons of silicone, and I hate those types of primers. They make my skin so dry. So I'm glad that this one's actually kind of like a gel, kind of feels quite like gel, but then it also feels really smooth as well. So that part that I had on my finger pretty much has just covered like the bottom portion of my skin. It kind of absorbs really quickly into the skin. It's pretty much just like a clear. It hasn't added like any colour or anything to my skin, and whenever it dries into the skin it kind of becomes quite tacky, which would be a good thing because it means like your foundation will like really stick to it. So it said on the website that it like smooths out imperfections and stuff, and my skin literally just looks exactly the same as what it did beforehand. It hasn't like blurred out any of my lines or anything like that, and my skin tone has remained the same. It hasn't evened out my skin tone or anything, but my skin does feel a little bit more tacky than what it did beforehand, which hopefully that's like the glycerin obviously making which will make the foundation like stick to it as well. It actually says on the back of the primer, deploy a small amount squeezed of One Heck of a Blot primer on cleansed skin, wear alone, under or over makeup, or dab on throughout the day for touch-ups. And I couldn't imagine putting this on your skin as like your main product because it literally has done nothing to my skin apart from make it feel a little bit tacky, but it hasn't evened out my skin, and it hasn't really done anything with my fine lines or wrinkles or pores, but other than that it's made my skin feel a little bit tacky. But so the foundation itself actually comes in 4 shades, which is kind of annoying because the lightest shade, which is this one here, which is in the shade Fair Enough, it's actually quite dark. Like it would actually probably match me like fine now, but obviously I want to make it quite darker so it matches my neck, so this one would be quite pale for me. But if I was completely like not tan and stuff, this would actually be maybe a little bit too dark, which is kind of annoying because obviously if you're a lot paler, this is the lighter one, which obviously might be too dark for you. And then the second one up from that is Cool Sand, which is the one that I think I'm going to use today, which is like a nice kind of yellowy toned pale colour. And then there's Happy Medium, which again is like a yellowy toned darker version of Pale Sand, more it's kind of just like a shade up. And then the darkest one is in the shade Caramel, which is quite dark, which I could obviously get away with if I had tan and stuff on my face, but I am quite pale now. So the foundation retails for £12. On the website it says, want flawless shine free skin, One Heck of a Blot all day liquid to powder foundation is, in our opinion, the best foundation ever for oily skin. It conceals pores, fine lines and redness for perfectly, I cannot say that word, smooth skin with no cakiness for up to 12 hours. No caking, no shine, no way you'll go back to your old foundation. So That little paragraph seems like really intense, so hopefully it does the job. So it retails for £12, comes in 4 shades, and it has a liquid to powder finish, so I'm assuming that it'll look quite matte obviously if it's like a powder finish. And then on the bottle it pretty much just has like a little bullet points of what I've just read out, and then it also says directions for use. After moisturizing, use your fingers or a brush to dab a few dots of One Heck of a Blot All Day Liquid to Powder Foundation down the center of your forehead, nose and chin. Blend centrally and then rub any excess outward onto your cheeks for flawless, absolutely flawless skin. So I'm actually going to use the colour Cool Sand, which is actually like a really nice colour. I like how they're more on the yellow tone, because drugstore foundations tend to be quite more like a neutral tone and then quite pink, so I'm actually glad these are more like kind of yellow as well. So what I'm going to do is just take some and pump some under my finger and then just pretty much put it in like the centre of my skin. And it is quite of like a runny foundation, as you can see. It is like running down my skin. So I pretty much just dotted it all over my skin, and I actually am going to blend it in with a brush because I would never use my fingers for blending out foundation, so I am actually just going to use a brush. So what I'm going to do is just start blending this into my skin. Already I can tell that it's quite of like a matte powdery finish, because it kind of just blends into like a really smooth feeling, like it doesn't feel really creamy on the skin. But it blends out like really easily, and maybe that's to do with the primer, I'm not too sure. But so far it blends like really nicely, and this colour is actually really nice. It is quite pale for my skin, so I might actually go with another layer of the darker colour just to see what it looks like. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's actually like clung to some dry patches on my skin, like in between my eyebrows right here. It looks quite cakey, like it doesn't seem to blend like seamlessly, and it is because it is a quite thin formula. Like you can still see like some of my redness and stuff through it, and it is like really super matte, and matte foundations is something that I would never normally go for. Like I love looking really dewy and glowy. Like it looks quite powdery, like it looks like I've actually just used like a powder foundation rather than a obviously liquid one. But I'm going to do another layer of the darker shade to see if it's buildable or not, and to see whether I can obviously build up the coverage. So I'm actually going to take some of the shade Happy Medium, which is the next shade up from the sand colour that I use, and I'm just going to place some of this down the centre again. And obviously you don't have to do like this amount of layers, but I like really full coverage on my skin, and also for the purpose of the video I want to see if this foundation is buildable, and whether if by building it up you can obviously go for like a different coverage. So again, I'm just going to start to blend this in. This colour matches me a lot better now, and it is definitely buildable. I can see by applying more, like here looks a lot more flawless than this side. So obviously you can build it up. Because it is a liquid to powder, it does look really powdery now that I've applied more of this. I wonder if I would like it if I like mix it in with like an illuminator or something to kind of make it like a dewy finish, or even like mixed it in with another foundation. Because so far I'm not liking the finish of this at all. It's so annoying, because like normally like I like every foundation because I always try and make it work somehow, even if it is matte, but this one just looks so weird on my skin. And it's actually made my pores look really big on my cheeks here. I think on oily skin this would actually be quite good for, because obviously if you have oily skin you want to go for a more powdered look to obviously absorb the oil and stuff. But because my skin is more normal to dry, I think this foundation's just like emphasised like all my lines and pores. So I'll just zoom you guys in so you can see like the finish of my skin. Obviously hopefully you can see in here that it's went like really cakey around my brows. And then like here you can kind of see some like larger pores coming, and I didn't even think I had large pores until now that I've seen this. And it actually feels quite tacky, and it's kind of given me like a little moustache like around here as well. So I'm gonna try to blend it out. I'm not too sure, like the coverage looks really nice. It looks fine from like a distance, but then when you look really close up you're like, whoa, like where have all these lines came from? Oh my god, this is such a disaster. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows and my concealer and stuff, and then I'll come back to show you what it looks like with the rest of my foundation and stuff done. Okay guys, so I've just done the rest of my face makeup, and actually whenever you have like your rest of the products and stuff on, it actually looks really smooth and flawless, because I think because it was a powder foundation you already have like that really smooth canvas there, and then whenever you put your other powders and stuff on it looks really smooth, but it does look quite powdery. And like here for some reason it went quite like, my contour didn't really blend that well, so it kind of went quite muddy, but on this side like it's okay, but then this side it was like a wee bit weird. So I'm gonna try and like blend it out a wee bit. Maybe I didn't bring the foundation like down enough, but my highlight and stuff went on really nicely. Obviously my eyebrows went on fine, and then like around my forehead and stuff looked okay, but my only main concern is that it kind of has settled into the lines around my mouth, and then in here is like quite cakey, but I don't know why that is. Like maybe I just have quite like dry skin in here, but my under eyes have went quite like creasy. Like I'll zoom in just to show you. I actually used the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, and I don't know if you'll be able to see, but as you can see here, there is a couple of little lines. But normally I do bring down my like under eye, like eyeshadow stuff, so you can't really see all those lines anyway. But it's just because I have like no eye makeup on now, you can like really see it all. But hopefully you guys can see like how smooth it looks, because it is quite like powdery. It has kind of like covered like my little hairs here and stuff. But so my overall thoughts on these foundations and primer is that the primer didn't really claim to do as much as it said it was supposed to. Like it kind of just made my skin feel quite tacky, which meant obviously my foundation would stick to it really well and probably last a really long time. Although on the website it says it kind of evens out your skin tone, smooths out any imperfections, like minimizes pores and stuff, and to be honest it didn't really do any of that. It just made my skin feel tacky. And then with the foundation, obviously it has really smoothed out my skin. My skin does look quite smooth and flawless right now, but it does feel quite dry and stuff onto my skin. And if you have really dry skin, and my skin isn't even that dry, and my skin feels really like tight now because it's so like powdery on my skin. Like it does feel very heavy on my skin, and I can see why people with really oily skin enjoy this foundation. Although more dry skin, I totally would not recommend this because it's far too powdery and it's far too drying. Because I just don't know what it is, because it is so matte and stuff, it just completely like clings onto everything, and it wouldn't take you to have like really dry patches or anything, because it really would be able to like see them on your skin and stuff. I'm actually glad that I was sent the entire collection of these foundations, because the lightest shade I thought looked quite like, it actually kind of looked quite like, it doesn't look very dark obviously in the bottle, but whenever you put it on your skin it actually is a lot lighter. Like the colours are lighter when you put them on than what they look like in the bottle. I actually use this one here first of all, which is in the shade Cool Sand, and this one was actually, it looked fine in the bottle for me, but then whenever I actually put it on my skin it was far too pale, and then I had to go in with Happy Medium, which is like the perfect shade. And then I also have the one in Caramel, which is like really dark. But again, even the darkest one, like there obviously can be, but even this darker one, like it isn't even that dark, and obviously there needs to be like another million shades for it to suit everybody's skin tone. And the fact that they only have 4 shades is kind of annoying, but I do really like the kind of coverage and shades of the foundation. Like they're kind of more yellowy tone, which I really like. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this kind of first impressions review video on this foundation, and I am going to give it a try like another couple of times to see maybe if I use like a different primer or something, it might look a little bit nicer on my skin. Like it doesn't look that bad, but it feels really like tight and like intense and cakey on my skin, but it does look quite smooth and stuff like that. But so guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a big thumbs up if you enjoy it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!